Hi, good morning, and welcome to another live session by Outdoor Wilderness and Learning. We call it OWL or OWL in short. As part of our effort to help individuals and organizations make sense of this new world, we at OWL are conducting a series of one on one interactive talks with eminent speakers and personalities who share their perspective on business and life. Today's speaker is, I will tell you a name a bit later, but the topic is recipe for success. And it's my honor and privilege to introduce Sarita Pereira, founder and chef, the Love Fools. Sarita started Love Fools as a weekend private dinners place some 4 years ago. And it created traction just through word of mouth. A place where you could spot foodies, millennials, and celebs sitting next to each other, yet no one bigger or smaller. Sarita has trained under a Michelin Star chef, Nandu Jubany, in Spain, and her profound knowledge of cooking techniques, coupled with a mad scientist like desire to push open the boundaries of cooking, has enabled her to innovate and implement her business plans with great success. In our OWL session, that is today's one on one session, we will be interacting with Sarita Pereira about how she has turned her passion for food into a successful career and her entrepreneurial journey, innovation, and creativity to survive in the face of this pandemic. This is her recipe for success. So let me welcome Sarita Pereira on today's one on one session with us. Good morning, Sarita. How are you today?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hi, Rajinder. How are
Yeah,
you?
welcome. Nice to have you on our one on one chat session, Sarita. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. By the way, people who don't really know her, this is what business standards said about Sarita. What Miss Pereira offers diners is more than just food that looks like modern art. Conversations in a welcoming environment and flavors that are original is where her culinary news kicks in. And Vogue India, they said, "Are you ready for a 12-course gourmet meal with completely unexpected flavors?" And by the way, audience, you need not wait till the end, and you can put in your questions on YouTube chat whenever you feel like, even during the session, and Sarita will do her best to answer as many questions as possible. So, Sarita, this was really great what Business Standard and Vogue, these are just two snippets which I have really spoken about. We've known you and your husband
In
Abhijit
different
for so many years.
circumstances.
Yeah, I know. So, there's something so interesting. What is the Love Fool? So, what was the seed for it?
So it actually started when I came back from Spain, and actually we had started the restaurant, and people were coming in, and for the longest time we didn't even have a name. So literally for 6 months we were going on like that, and just through word of mouth it was building. And at a certain point, my husband just said, "This is enough. You need to have a brand name. You need to have a website, and you need to tell people what you're going to be called." And that's how the journey started. And there were people who got involved at that time. Abhijit was very involved. There was Sandhya, there was Venkat, who started helping me a lot with creating a brand name. Of course, I was very stuck with this name called Serendipity, because everything on this journey has been literally, like, one after another, just everything has been like a chance meeting for me. So I was stuck on that name till this name came up from the creative people who were helping me, Venkat and Sandhya, and they said, "Love Fools it is." And I don't know, but it just kind of made sense, because there is one part of it which I wanted to bring into this whole fine dining scene. Because before I went to Spain, in my head, fine dining was something which was the white plates and very formal and very unapproachable. And it's something even I could not relate to, till I went there. And when I went there, for me, the whole idea of fine dining changed to something where a chef is putting in his creativity, where he's playing around with things. And when I ate that food, for me, the idea of a cuisine changed, because I went with this idea of there is a Spanish cuisine and there are certain flavors which are stuck in your head just as much as, you would think about Italian food. And when I ate the food, for the first time, when I ate there, and I just fell in love, and I said, okay, fine, it's how people are just really playing around with flavors. So when I came back, I wanted to break that idea of fine dining. I wanted it to be very approachable. I wanted people to come with their flip-flops and, sit and eat with their hands. So the love came from there, is how do we put in the love to the whole fine dining thing and break this format. And the fools actually came from the madness, from the passion that I've like really pursued, because for me it has been a full U-turn that I've taken in my career. And out of nowhere, one day I woke up and I said, I want to be a chef and I want to pursue this as a career, as a living, as everything. So I think the fools comes from that. So somehow that made sense. It made sense. And maybe there are a whole lot of people like me who pursue their passion, be it photography, be it cinema, whatever it is, where they go to whatever extent and they just keep living that life. So LoveFools just suddenly made sense. It was the most radical name. Everyone said no to me at that stage. But I don't know. There was just this gut feeling that that is the right name, which encapsulates what I'm just trying to do.
Brilliant here. I mean, so love as well as the fools both actually evolved from you, your
Correct.
inner self. Yeah.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
outstanding. By the way, this is many years ago in Barcelona. We were in a fine dine restaurant with one of our corporate clients, GCPL. And that fine dine restaurant has a toilet which has got a DJ, a live DJ playing.
Really?
This
See,
is Barcelona.
these are the kind of tips that you used to always give us, right?
Yeah, so
I
that's a great
remember
one.
that. Yeah.
A real live DJ, and it's not a separate toilet. Anyway, great.
You've given me
So,
an idea for our new space.
brilliant idea for your the new space. That
Yes.
so, Sarita, do you believe that there is some sort of a pattern or a formula to become a successful entrepreneur? Can you share some thoughts on this matter?
Actually, I don't know if you follow a pattern. What I know is you're looking at life through a peephole, and, you're looking, because on an everyday basis, you are coming and saying, oh my God, I have this dinner today. And how can I do this the best way? Right. So it's like when you're painting, you're only seeing one part of one corner of that entire frame. Right. And you just keep doing your paint, and you kind of painting on the canvas, and at the end of maybe 2 years or whatever, a pattern emerges. So I don't think we approach saying that this is the pattern that we want to follow. You do your best, whatever comes in front of you. Who knew there's going to be a situation like 2020 in anybody's life, right? But we take on each day, we say what is the best we can do, and maybe it will probably have a different kind of, it's like there are new business models evolving right now, right? And which is like on a daily basis, we are kind of taking calls and adding new things and adding new concept, which eventually 2 years from now will probably take on a different life. So I think you just look at one little peephole at a time till it somewhere becomes an entire frame, an entire painting, which starts making sense. But that's the way you live life, right? You take one day at a time, and when you look back, suddenly lot of your life starts making sense because you took some right decisions at the right time.
Yeah, so brilliantly articulated. So what I can get a sense of it is, keep it simple, focus on one day at a time, and what you said is, then the canvas starts building on it. You just keep drawing on the canvas. Yeah.
Correct.
So, as an entrepreneur in the culinary industry, and apart from your training as a Michelin Star chef, under a Michelin Star chef, you've never had a culinary background. So what was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome?
When I came back to Bombay, Like I had come with all these mad ideas and I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't even have the money to find the kind of restaurant space or whatever. So I started telling myself that, maybe I'll do something in my mom's living room, or maybe I'll look for a little tiny little place in Chum village,
Mm,
because, it's like I wanted to put myself out there. And I also said to myself that, there have been chefs in this business who are like 20 years in this business. And I'm like, I'm coming out of nowhere and putting myself out there. I don't even know how people are going to respond to that, right? So, what I just did was I said, okay, this is what I know. Let me see how I can translate it. The step one was to start translate it into a dinner, like literally put together a menu. And we put
mm,
together a menu. We started with just one group. Like I said, that time we didn't even have a name. And it started with one group. And that one group just kept multiplying. And I was like, oh my god, I'm chasing a car and I'm catching a car and I don't know what to do with it, right? So it just started becoming that. It was like, I had to keep pace with things that I didn't expect the way it would turn out to be, because in my head I was just simply going about saying that, okay, nobody knows me, let me just do what I need. And I had nothing to lose, right? Because I didn't come with a reputation, I didn't come with anything. So I had absolutely nothing to lose, but just put all of myself out there. And I think that's what keeps me going even today, because I still feel that I am, there are chefs who are so way ahead of me in this country,
mm.
in most of the countries. And I have so much to learn and keep pace with them. So I just go out and put myself, because I feel I come with nothing.
Great, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just, you said you come with nothing, and yet you have, really completely innovated, adapted, and you never saw anything as a hurdle, You
Yeah.
just, yeah, it was a path and you just started walking on it.
Yeah.
Has this pandemic lockdown been the most challenging of your career? If yes, then how did you actually, push through this?
Yeah, actually everything was felt like it's going very smoothly.
Mm,
When we launched, when we officially launched, there
mm,
were just two media articles that came out. One was in Vogue and one was in brown paperback. And what happened is, just with those two articles, we had got booked out for 6 months. When those six
mm,
months got over, I said, oh my God, what is going to happen? How are people going to come now? And what started happening is, the first 6 months, the people who had come, there was so much word of mouth that got built, that got the next 1 year going. And that 1 year got the next 1 year going. So the first 4 years have literally been like that, till a point that, you had all sorts of people, like you said, sitting on the same table, from
mm.
celebrity to my favorite guest to my regular guest, everybody on the same table. And I thought, okay, fine, now what next? Till such point that we were running out of space, and we were going through that kind of a struggle. And then we found the right space, and when we found the right space, oops, the lockdown happened. Because we were to launch on 17th of April. I wanted to kind of coincide the launch with Coachella. I had this big idea of, okay, I want to do this with a music fest, and I want to do a 3-day music fest. And I was looking for an event person to kind of make it really big. So nobody expected the lockdown. So I think honestly, the first 1 month, I really enjoyed it, as much as like panicking, because I was any which ways going through this transition. So I was mentally prepared that there is going to be that 1 month break. And it's like, you are so exhausted and tired. That's how a life is, right, in the restaurant business. So I was like, it was like a huge change, because I was getting time at home with family, with Abhijit, all of that, with my mom. After first month, I started panicking a bit, so which is by mid-May. And literally we had this old Kavela roof which is open, and I just panicked and I said, you know what, it's going to rain and everything is going to get damaged. So I told Abhijit, I am going, I don't care. I am just getting out of the house. And that's how everything started, because we went there, we started fixing the space, and within a week we just created the menu. A lot of it came from, there is so much we can do out there, because we are still part of essential service. So why not put ourselves out there? So it started there. From there, whole lot of concepts started evolving, because what we had done during that 1 month in April is along with my chefs, we used to like do a Zoom call, which seems to be what everybody hates to do now. But over a month, we were like every day discussing one new restaurant, five new ideas that everybody is doing, right? So what happened is when we went there, we already had a lot of ideas in our head. So it was about just implementing it. And when we started putting it on paper, we realized that delivery business is whole new game. So like I'd mentioned earlier, that it's taking one day at a time. You learn things about delivery business, you learn how to handle delivery, you learn things that after it reaches 1 hour in Bombay, even during lockdown, we have a situation called a traffic jam. So what happens, how do you handle that? So there were a lot of learnings in the first 15 days. There was a lot of course correction, but it was like just putting ourselves out there, just testing ourselves, being flexible. I think that has been the biggest learning, because before this, I was like, how do I even package my food for delivery? But I think what it has taught us is one of the biggest thing is being agile, being flexible, to correct your mistakes fast. How do you do all of these things, without losing the essence of what you are or what you have been? So for us, the essence of what we have been always is an experience that people come for during a special night or during a special occasion in their life. So how do we take that forward into what we're doing in delivery? And then I think everything started just falling in place from there.
I mean, yeah, brilliant. You said, maintain your essence and yet, in terms of be flexible
Yeah. Yeah.
and innovate. I remember you telling me that you have started your own delivery and you haven't relied on these so-called delivery logistic apps like Swiggy or Zomato. So what made you do that, in terms of
There were two things actually. One of the thing, of course, we thought about doing Swiggy, and it is one of the efficient way of delivering or whatever. But when we started practically figuring what happens, when we put ourselves out on Swiggy, what happens if we have cooked for 10 people, but only one order comes that day? And there's a lot of wastage that comes into play. Now, in the last 4 years, we have only, the way our LoveFools has worked in the past is it's customized. So people used to let us know before when they are coming. We knew exactly how many people are coming. We knew how many vegetarians are there. We knew how many keto people are there. We knew how many non-vegetarians. So we knew exactly what we are cooking for on a given day. There was zero wastage in our earlier thing. So for me, that has always been very big as to how do we have a system where it is zero wastage. So that kind of pushed us to look at our own delivery, because what we said is, let's still follow the thing of having the orders one day prior. And if we do that, it is only going to be control if we have our own delivery system. So that's one of the first thing that kind of compelled us to kind of look at the current model, the way it has evolved. And actually it has worked very well, because most people still see us as someone who is like, they think of us when it's their birthday, they think of us when it's their anniversary. Luckily, at least they think of us on those days. Yeah. So on those days, then they're ordering now food for their families, for 4 people, sometimes 10 people also, right? And we're doing this anywhere from 2 to 8 course celebration. So we've even done a 8 course date night kind of a box. So it's like a 3 hour affair where you unbox the whole thing. We make it intimate. We send them a Spotify playlist, so we are bringing that experience which we're doing here in their houses now. So the idea and the endeavor has to be, how do we transfer that experience? How do we still make it like really, really special for them? Or even if it's just a nice family weekend evening, so sending them sometimes even a table decor setting if it's a birthday for 2 people.
Yeah, oh, fabulous,
Yeah.
So, see, you being an entrepreneur, which is really, I mean, we all are a band of brothers and sisters, We could be from different walks of life, different businesses, different experiences. Yet, so much of it is connection with what we do. So, are you a stickler for when do you make a lot of plans on paper? Like you said, you said be flexible, innovate, but do you actually do create
No,
a lot of plans of
no,
India.
no,
No.
no, no. A lot of it evolves from actually the direction that, so like one of the new direction that has evolved is like one of the things that I started doing during the lockdown, because one had nothing to do for that 1 month or 1.5 month, is
Mm.
started talking to a whole lot of artisanal entrepreneurs as well in the food business. So there are a whole
Mm.
lot of chocolatiers. For the first time we have a generation of people who are attempting to make cheese or chocolate or coffee, and they're doing creating these products which are literally world global standards, and some of it is even winning a lot of international awards.
Mm.
So I started chatting with them, and what I figured is there's so many creative people out there who are doing phenomenal stuff, right? So how do I start doing collaboration with them? How do I start co-creating products with them? So that's also another thing on the cards. So a lot of it is from also the experience that I have lived in, and literally bringing that into LoveFools. So if I have had these conversation, how do we bring that forward? Or if I have like one of the things that one started doing during this whole
Mm.
COVID situation is taking care of themselves, a little extra attention to your health. Not that we were not, but some of it, just everybody kind of pushed themselves a mile extra on the health front, right? So for
Mm.
me, it was going all out organic personally, and therefore saying, can I bring those collaboration into it? So I think it's always been, what are my experience? What am I going through? Before this, in 2019 or 18, it was all about the travel experiences, what I'm going through, the food experiences that I want to bring forward. So it's about what I'm living. How do I bring that forward? So it just stems from there. And then I think the business probably just takes care of itself as a result of that.
So you basically, or of course, you have an action plan, but you evolve. You're flexible. You evolve, and you take actions based on feedback, based on now you're venturing into collaboration, which is
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
about just honestly, it's about how do I bring different experiences.
Hmm.
And those experiences then take life into a business form, right? And there are a lot of things that you test out, right? And you
Yeah.
see what is working and not working. But it's always about those experiences which then translates into
Yeah.
business.
So the audience out there is throwing up many more questions. There's one more question which is said, "Hi, Chef Sarita. You have broken
Hi.
many rules." Yes, she said, "Hi. You have broken many rules in your journey. Which was the biggest one and the most risky one?"
Wow. I think that was going to Spain, because I remember when I landed up there, and Rajendra, you will kind of relate to it. I had to get into a small little, firstly, I had to get in, so this place was in Wick. When I looked at all Airbnb apartments, there was only one I found, which looked like in middle of nowhere in a jungle. It looked like some serial killer will come and find me there. And I really still went ahead and booked that apartment. When I landed in Barcelona, I just could not even find, because there were so many platforms and I could not even find a train to get there in middle of the night, and landed at some station which didn't even which was not even the right station. So just getting there, was such a major journey. And I think that one journey, one trip has played off for me in a very, very big way, because it was not just, I thought I'm going to learn techniques and cuisine and everything, but actually what happened was a life shift. Because this restaurant was in a very tiny village which had like about 5,000 people or 6,000 people. I met every single chef who was there, and I would ask them, how many people in your village? And they would say, oh, there are 120 people in my village, and I'm the 121st. And I saw people, who are very content with life,
Hmm.
not needing much. I saw people who were extremely passionate about what they were doing, and it was only about their passion and putting that first. And business took care of itself because of that, right? So I think these are the two big things. And innovation, like crazy amount of innovation that I just saw in that time that I was there. So for me, it was like literally what I understood of life, of business, everything change. There is a certain understanding that I had, and I just came back with a total different understanding of how to live your life, how to live your passion, all of that.
Ah, outstanding. I think the question really was apt. There's another one. As a woman leader in the culinary world, which is dominated by men, what challenges have you faced?
Again, I'm going back to my Spain example. Like I remember one of the first day I went into the kitchen and there were only men, and it would be easy to deal with just men in the kitchen. That's not an issue, but men who didn't speak the language, right? So they were only speak, and I had done a little bit of learning Spanish on all the apps that are available. But once I went in the kitchen, I realized that Catalan. So this particular place is in a district. It's in a region which is Catalonia, right? And that's a very different dialect from Spanish, right? And I figured that they not only they speak Catalan and they don't even understand a word of Spanish. So it was challenging in the beginning, but I think you just like put your head down and you're just saying, okay, fine, what's in front of you? If it's cleaning the prawns, let me do that. If it's chopping the onion, let me do that. And that's how you just get through it. Now I relate to it. Now, of course, my kitchen is again all boys, but they are like my boys, my kids, who I can slap and jump and scream, and but it's still my family. So I guess it's like you get used to men in this business.
Ah, awesome. So now you've got this from a woman leader. So powerful. Yeah, great. They're coming in thick and fast. Some of the other questions, Chef. Is there any age to start off on journeys such as yours? Hung up my Fauji uniform a few years back. So this is from a Fauji. I stepped into a civilian world and also stepped into 50s. What says you?
I would say it doesn't
There's a big
matter,
hand
right?
to this Fauji, who's really, really a real big hand from all of us. First is real gratitude and for serving our nation, and now he's hung up his Fauji uniform and once he stepped into the civilian world. So brilliant.
Firstly, hi, I would like to meet you offline also and say hello to you and thank you for everything that you do for our nation. Secondly, I don't know. I have changed my career 3 times over, and I've never looked at what age, what juncture I am in life. I think it's the state of mind, where you just decide and you have the grit and the resilience to see through. I think these are the only two things that really matter. And I think that's what you will understand best.
Brilliant. I mean, in terms of the kind of tough background training that our armed forces go through, and the way they
Absolutely.
show resilience, as
Absolutely.
well as
Absolutely.
yeah,
And I think
adaptation.
culinary is such a huge, infinite world that anybody at any stage can come into it, and yet there is space for every single person.
So Sarita is offering to connect with you and take you. That's great. Yeah. So the Fauji's name is I think Mr. Agarwal.
Okay.
And that is great having him part of this session. Sarita, give us one advice, or what you could say a key takeaway for aspiring, you could say first for aspiring food entrepreneurs in the current scenario. It could be anything, in terms of however short. What would you want to say to them? One learning or key takeaway? Yeah.
I
Or
would say
one
be
advice.
I would say be creative and be stupid.
Be
Yeah.
creative, be stupid.
Yeah. So firstly, be creative, have a lot of creative ideas, and be stupid enough to try it out, right? Because some of it will work, some of it may not work, but I think it's just worth enough to just pursue and see through. So I think these are the two things I would just kind of say out there that I think would be most important, because I think the only thing that is kind of helping us to get through this whole situation is to come every day and say, what are the 4 new ideas that we want to try? And I think the process of creating new dishes, because then you are just caught up with saying, has it turned out right? Has it burned? What has happened, that you forget about the other issues. And it's not that the challenges are not there. We are as much going through the challenges because it's been 4 months of business being completely shut. So every once in a while you wake up and there are butterflies in your stomach and you don't know whether you're going to survive another month or not. But I think what is helping us get through is to wake up with a thought that, okay, I have this chocolate flavor that I'm creating with a chocolatier, which is a little tangy, and I want to cut the tanginess. What do I do? So it's a bigger problem that you wake up with rather than saying, how am I going to survive? So I would say be creative would be the first one.
Being creative. Great. Yeah. There's another question. They're flying in thick and fast. Considering the current scenario in the world, what advice do you have for someone wanting to follow their passion and start their own business? Do you think this is the right time for it?
I mean, I don't know what is a right or a wrong time for anything. I think if you feel right in your gut, there's always a right time. We started an entire delivery business. Delivery business was never part of our model, right? Even in the next 3 years or 4 years. And suddenly from there, delivery is evolving, catering is evolving. I am telling myself, I don't mind going out and, handling a wedding also, which I never thought I'll put myself out there, right? So I think it's about having conviction about your idea, and there are always people who have the need for that idea in that given point.
Awesome.
And maybe at this moment the business will be slow, but if the idea is solid, it will survive this.
Okay, great. Somebody said you seem very fit despite being in this foodie business, or rather your love for food has to be paramount. So how do you keep fit? Isn't it difficult to refrain from just that one extra bite, another serving, a bit of more sweet?
No. I go through a lot of tastings and trials, but I think one part of it is genetic. So I have to thank my mom for that in a big way. And there is a part of where you say, so I have this rule, one cheat meal and one healthy meal in a day. So I think that balances out everything, maybe.
Yeah. So, awesome. And somebody just sent me a message, by the way, and that's one of our friends, Anna Klein. She said, unprecedented times means you need to take unprecedented action. So people are really, really liking and loving the way you are a woman power, a leader.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
It has been a real, pleasure. And some of the things which really, really stand out, from your insightful talk are, you must innovate and yet maintain your essence and be flexible, right?
Correct.
And
be creative.
Despite the butterflies in your stomach, nobody knows what is going to happen tomorrow.
Correct.
And, how long this situation will remain.
One thing we've all learned is we can't control anything.
You can't control
the only thing we can control is what we wake up and decide to do every day.
Okay. So this has been an outstanding session, and you've been our first lady speaker, a woman power on our team. So what we're going to do is, as soon as your restaurant opens, we are all going to land up there.
I'm going to hold you to that promise, Rajendra.
Our entire team is going to land up there.
Yes.
That is great. And it was an absolute delight listening to you today, and such a learning experience,
Likewise.
I still, I'm going to repeat that takeaway that you told the viewers, is that, you said stay stupid and creative.
Be creative and be stupid.
Be creative and be stupid.
Correct.
So Thank you so much, Sarita, for
Thank you.
gracing our chat show. To all the viewers, thank you once again for being on our chat show.
And thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And remember Sarita Pereira, the LoveFools, such an immense, powerful, talented lady. And we wish all of you, all the viewers and the team, very good health and hope to see you again very soon. Thank you once again.
Thank you
Sarita.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.